Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of On the Town with Tanya. I'm your host. I thank you so much for coming back and joining us. So today's show is dedicated to all those procrastinators out there. Have you ever had, you ever started something or started a habit with all the motivation in the world, just only to fall off after one bad day and feel like a total failure? Well, my guest today, she is here to prove that habits don't have to be all or nothing, and that real lasting change looks a lot messier and more compassionate than the self help industry has led us to believe. So let's see. My guest today is a podcast host, certified habit and identity coach, the author of Sticky Habits, a woman's guide to reclaim happiness, ditch perfectionism, and create habits that last. She is a former middle school teacher turned thought leader. She launched the About Progress community in 2016 after her own journey. Excuse me, I got something in my throat. After her own journey out of all or nothing thinking. Her podcast, About Progress, has earned a top 5% ranking and more than 4 million downloads. Yes, that's right. And she's coached hundreds of women through one-on-one and group coaching since 2018. I'd like for you guys to do me a favor, and I want you to put your hands together for the lovely Monica Packer. Hey,
Hello.
hi. I got my
Hello.
my works here. There we go. Welcome.
Oh, love that. This is so fun. I love this.
Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you. Thank you,
I love your
Tanya.
red, by the way. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
Pretty
I don't
color.
know. It's all the trend these days to get your colors done. And I
I
actually
love that.
found out bright colors are my colors, which I didn't expect.
Love it. Love it.
I'm trying.
So we're here today for your book. I'm excited because, half the world's procrastinating, right? And especially after the pandemic, I'm sure more people became more procrastinators.
Yeah.
Not by will, but I'm sure, it's just,
Circumstance.
yeah. And
Right.
we're just getting a little lackadaisical about things right now. So
We're tired.
yeah, we need a booster up, and I think you're the booster up that we need. So
Oh, good.
thank you for coming.
Pleasure to be
Let's
here.
see. Thank you. Let me see. Somebody just says, hey. Okay, somebody's saying hi already. Here we go. Hey, guys. How are you out there? We see you. We'll get back to you. So you were a middle school teacher
Yeah.
before becoming a coach and a podcaster. What led you to launch About Progress in 2016?
Well, first going back to teaching, I was a middle school teacher
Mm-hmm.
in the San Francisco Bay Area and in Oakland area. I loved it. It changed my life completely.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to live there, teach there, get to know the community there really did change everything for me. So if there's like a kind of a hinge point in my life where so much changed about who I am, it goes back to teaching, teaching kids in middle school.
Wow.
And they changed so much for me. But once I had my oldest, I stayed home with her. I did like track coaching for my old school and stuff like that. So I still got to be involved with the community.
Mm-hmm.
But in many ways, I kind of got sucked into wanting to be good
Mm-hmm.
at my roles and my responsibilities, but really losing as part of that the sense of who I was anymore. And I think a lot of us do that. I think we want to be a good mom, or we want to be a good, fill in the blank, whether it's like an employee or boss or wife or friend. And you kind of just, because of these good intentions, get lost to them in many ways. You kind of forget who you are. And that was what happened to me. I had 3 young children at the time. I've had a few more since, but at that time I had 3 young children and realized that the way I was showing up to my life wasn't me anymore. And I wanted to change. And I had this, I was lucky to get a therapist, and, I had a dad at first. Sometimes you have to shop around a bit. But this lady told it like it was, she didn't hold back. And one of the things she told me about myself is that I was a perfectionist, and I didn't believe her, Tanya, because I didn't think I was perfect enough. I didn't think I was good enough to be a perfectionist, because so much of what I had gone through the last 10 years was staying safe in the nothing side. of that
Mm.
perfectionism pendulum swing. The
Mm-hmm.
first 20 years of my life, I was the stereotype of perfectionist, but I
Mm-hmm.
crashed and burned at 20. I was dealing with multiple eating disorders and mental health issues
Mm.
that forced me into recovery. And part of my recovery, like my fear, was to then just do nothing, like no goals, no
Right.
personal aspirations for myself, just to
Right.
stay safe, show
Mm-hmm.
up to school every day,
Mm-hmm.
prepared, do your job, but don't do anything for yourself. Like, don't extend yourself, don't try, don't put yourself out there, don't think ahead. Like, and I was similarly really stuck at 30.
Mm.
And, thanks to her help in the beginning, I came to understand how it was showing up in my life. And it really was that all or nothing pendulum swing for me. It was
Mm.
really seasonal. Other people, it can be more like within a 24-hour period. You're just
Right.
bouncing back and forth between it. And I have now spent over 10 years of experimenting on what does it actually look like to grow
Mm.
outside of this model. So the podcast came along for the ride. I was here just to start interviewing people, their own stories, like how they learned to know who they were in
Mm.
their lives again, how they came back home to themselves, and as part of that,
Mm-hmm.
how we can change and grow outside of perfectionism.
Mm, wow. In that perfectionism, because I realized I have been saying the wrong word, but procrastination, I would
Oh,
imagine,
it's so
would
tied
also be
into
a
it.
part. Right. I was going to say, I imagine that's tied into it, which is why my little
It really
Freudian
is,
slip
though.
went there. So I understand the difference. I just, the tie.
Well, and that's actually one thing for people to know if they're like, "Oh, I'm not a perfectionist because I don't do anything. I'm late to everything, or I procrastinate everything, or I'm lazy." Odds are you are a perfectionist too,
Mm,
because you're waiting for the perfect time. You're waiting for the perfect amount of knowledge or certainty that you'll get what you want, or you're
mm,
afraid of failure. so, so yeah, procrastination actually is a big characteristic of
yes.
perfectionism. So you knew.
Okay. Well, that's good because I was like, wait a minute, I'm saying the word, I meant it, but in the context of what I said. So thank you. I'm glad that was tied together.
It
Um,
is.
so you describe yourself as a recovering
Yeah.
perfectionist. Can you take us back to what that looked like in your day-to-day life?
Yes, initially it was understanding what perfectionism, excuse me, even is, because again,
Mhm,
I just was like, no, perfectionists are perfect,
mhm,
and instead I had to really come to understand, no, perfectionism is it can be a coping mechanism, especially for those who have experienced trauma in their lives.
yes.
But for every person who is dealing with it, it's a misplacement of your identity on your
Mm,
outcomes, whether you have them or you don't. With
mm,
the all side of all or nothing, it's a spectrum of perfectionism, really. On the all side, you are still sticking like, how do I do like who I am is dependent on how much I get done in a day. Who I am is dependent on what people can see about me,
mhm,
or how well I do things,
mhm,
or how well it ends up, like the success of it. And if you get stuck in that, I had to just really understand perfectionism isn't a good quality. It's not something to aspire to. Perfectionism is believing a whole host of lies, that we were often sold, especially online in the self-help industry, that the only way to change is to sacrifice everything, to hustle, to burn out, to give it all you have, no excuses. And it's a really privileged community, really,
mhm,
that
mhm.
teaches that. And oftentimes it's people who have a lot more access to support and help, and um, even money, and just outright like being able to live, like have
Right.
the opportunity to even go all.
Mm,
Um, but most people, I think, actually find themselves in the nothing side because perfectionism comes at a cost. For me, it was my relationships, it was my own mental sanity, it was having goals, and it was progress, really. Like I hadn't really grown for a long time.
mhm,
So at first, it was just kind of understanding I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to believe in those lies anymore. I'm not going to
mm,
believe in overnight success anymore. I'm not
mm,
going to believe in the lie of arrival. I'm not
mm.
going to believe in black and white prescriptions that
Right.
are sold to me online by probably well-meaning people, but who again aren't living my life,
Mhm,
particularly more so as a woman, I would say, and don't
mhm,
understand what that looks like in ways that are different from theirs. Um, and so it was that, but it also was trying to figure out who is Monica then, and I kind of had to go on my own path of figuring
mm.
that out. I made something called a do something list. It was my push to get myself out of that all or nothing cycle.
Right.
Everything on this list was just things I wanted to try. And as part of that, likely fail at. The goal was mediocrity. It was about reading books again. It was about going on hikes. It was about painting because I always say I want to paint. It's about writing because I always say I want to write. It's, interior design part, like not important stuff, not like front page newspaper kind of stuff. It was more about all the things I used to do and stopped, or the things I see other people doing and wish that I could do it too. And just trying those things, one, helped me understand who I was, because it helped me explore who I actually was outside of my roles, and it challenged that perfectionist in me. And I've since made a list every year. I've never completed one. They've always been about exploration, not completion. And each one has changed something else about that year for me, or helped me get to know myself differently, challenged a part of me. One of the things I ended up doing this year, which I did not plan at the beginning of the year, this year I'm trying to explore hobbies again.
Okay.
And I accidentally tried out for the community play. Like I was trying out because 2 of my kids wanted to do it. I accidentally tried out, accidentally made it. And then I spent 3 months doing Fiddler on the Roof.
Wow.
I haven't performed since high school. It had been 22 years for me.
Did
And
it
it
feel
was
nice?
terrifying. It felt wonderful and terrifying at the same time. And again, but thanks to me challenging that perfectionist in me, I was able to show up. I have to tell you, the first day I had to go to rehearsals and sing in front of an entire room of people who actually knew what they were doing. Like, these are people who just graduated from college, like in theater. Most of the cast were those people. And I had to sing in front of them. The only way I was able to do it is if I told myself, not only are you allowed to mess up, you will mess up. And that's okay. And because of that, I could open my mouth and sing and do okay. And each time I could do better and better. And that meant I could show up for my performances and have a bad night and shake it off and do a better night. And this is community theater, so it's not life or death, right? But that's what this whole last 10 years have taught me, that I'm not my outcomes. I'm not what I do in a day. And at the same time, I'm allowed to get to know myself, to try. The opposite of perfectionism is not apathy. That is a form of perfectionism. The opposite of perfectionism is trying, but from a different place of knowing who we are and trying in a different way, meaning failure is part of it. Compassion is part of it. It's not about shame. It's not about the end or nothing. Like, it's such a different way. It's taken 10 years for me to learn it, truly.
Well, all of us, because we're told by media and everything we see is that this is how it
Everything's
goes. And that's
perfect. Yeah. And, and I see that in the self-help and wellness industry. I see that in the online business industry.
Yes,
The
everywhere.
only good thing about AI, Tanya, I don't know if you feel this way too, is I feel like the only good thing about AI is that people are going to crave humanness so much more.
That's
and
for
that
sure.
gives us license to
Appreciate.
finally to appreciate the not perfect picture.
Yes.
Or the not perfect podcaster. Like,
yes.
It is so refreshing.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. And so, social media has done us a real disservice for that. I agree with that comment for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And as part of that still, like, we get the opportunity to be like, this is the beauty of being human, is that we're not a robot. Yes. And we're not sitting here with 2 robots talking. We're listening to 2 humans.
Yes. And there are some people who actually have assigned agents. And so now somebody that's raw like myself, they'll say, well, that wasn't done so great. And I'm like, I don't care what you think.
That's
I'm doing
strength.
My work of what I want to do. And this is how I do it. So you can get your bots. That's okay. But don't judge me by the bots, because I'm not a bot.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not a bot. That's what people need to decipher and really think about when it comes to making their own plans and saying, well, I want to be making whatever you want to be. I want to sew, I want to write, whatever it is. You can't compare yourself to the people you see, even in Hollywood or even on television, because they have bots, let's say. You know what I'm saying? So they have managers, they have people that do all the glamour stuff. So all you're going to see is the beauty. The face beat, the makeup beat, the clothes are fabulous. Everything's the language is perfect. Everything's perfect.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see. You're not going to see that on a real podcast with a real person doing it without a robot.
That's right.
So
I think people are going to be more drawn to that maybe the first time in a very long time.
Yeah.
which I'm glad for, but I'm not glad about the rest of it.
Yeah. No, when it comes to perfection and even procrastination, those things are so important because I found young people are getting caught in the matrix saying, well, I can't do it
Oh,
because look at what she's doing, and I go look and I'm like, this has a AI assistant. This is not a regular, even a picture. I have
yeah.
pictures where I've done the whatever you call the whatever enhancer or whatever you call it.
Hmm.
But I tell people that is a snap. That's not really me. So you need to know
Hmm.
the difference because then when
Yeah.
you see me, you won't be like, what happened to her face? I'm just
I
saying
mean,
it could be
yeah.
that simple. It could be that simple of making a dream. I'm going to be a writer. And now you're writing your book and you're putting all your words and your mind in it. But your friend over here, Becky, just wrote a book and used all AI. Now what?
Yeah.
They're gonna be like,
Yeah,
she
I
has a great
know.
book, a #1 seller. And it's like, but she didn't even write the book. So now what? So don't judge yourself according to others because Gary, you will be disappointed and you'll never do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And this is just sad, right? I want to read a human book. I want to listen to a human podcast. I want to
Yes.
watch a
Yes.
human
Watch
TV
real
show.
actors because
That's
now
right.
they got the AI movies. I'm like, that's cute that you can use AI to put it on a platform, maybe. But I don't think it's cute to have. I need like Ben Stiller, or I'm making that up, that name
Yeah.
up. But I need
Yeah.
like Meryl Streep or
Sure.
Angela Davis. I need whoever these people are because that's like human connection, right?
That's
We're
right.
losing our connection, and with that, people who procrastinate and people who don't that still like scared to do that little step, this makes it harder for them. So don't get delusioned by all this stuff
That's
that you're
right.
looking at. Be
And you know
yourself
what?
and do what you love.
You're making me realize, I think what perfectionism really is it's a disease of disconnection.
Oof.
You're
Disease.
disconnected from yourself. You don't trust yourself anymore because you just go by the book, by the prescriptions. You don't learn to listen to what you want and need. You don't listen to when you need to slow down or when you need to get up and
Yes.
try, but your fear of failure is keeping you stuck in a place. But you disconnect from others too. It's
Yes.
really hard to let people in
Yes.
if you are terrified of them not liking the human in you. So that's a big, I think maybe the most number one symptom of perfectionism is disconnection. So
Mm,
even if you don't think you count as a perfectionist, if you find yourself really disconnected from knowing who you are, what you want and need, listening to yourself,
mm,
letting other people in, letting them really see you,
yeah.
then I'm betting you're on that spectrum and it's
Mm,
something to think more about and
definitely.
try to
Definitely.
understand.
Try to understand. Yeah, no, definitely. And there's so many people I know in this category. Even I say have things.
Yeah.
I get things done, but I know I get to do a lot more
Yeah.
if I wasn't procrastinating. Because my friend
Mhm.
said it's not really procrastinating because you get stuff done. You just didn't do it when you at the time that was supposed to be
Yeah.
done. I was like, yeah, but that's still procrastinating because you
Yeah.
make your own deadlines and you should adhere to them. But I don't hold myself like, oh, the world's going to end because I didn't do it at 5 o'clock and I did it at 7. It got done. It got done, right? And nobody's going
Yeah.
to die. We're good. We're good. So, yeah, I say just start.
Yes.
You got to just start.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
What?
that's something I have to say to myself too.
Yeah, just start. I mean, because I would have never started a podcast. Well, it was actually a live cable show 29 years ago when I started on the Town with Tanya on
Amazing.
BCAT, Brooklyn Cable Access Television, I think it's called. Yeah. And I would have never did it had it not been for two celebrities. I was auditioning for MTV. I didn't get it. And
Oh
they gave
yeah.
me the worst script known to man
Of
as a
course.
VJ. And
Of
the
course.
two celebrities were there watching and was
Mm.
like, listen, come here. You can do this. Just go
Yeah.
get a cable show. That's how I started this. Now it's a podcast because of the pandemic, but it was
Yeah.
live before. Then I went to 42nd Street. I mean, I was
That's
only doing it
amazing.
because they said, just do it. Forget talking, forget writing, forget all that. You want a show?
Just
I
do
said, yeah,
it.
we're going to tell you how to get it. So I went to the thing. I was like, oh my God, they're right. Anybody can get this show? No way. I was scared,
Of course.
out of my mind. But when I did it, guess what? I'm still here 29 years later. Some people say, well, you're not rich off it. I was like, that's because I didn't choose to be yet.
Well, and
When I'm ready,
that's not the only metric of success, right? That's another
exactly.
lie we fall for, right?
Boom,
It's
there it
really
is.
easy to fall for that.
Yes. I get it all the time. Well, you're not. I've had people blow me off just because of that. And I said,
Oh
that's
goodness.
on you. That's what your
Yeah.
values are. That's not my values. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to let you put your values on me. Right. Because I
Well,
know what
Tanya,
mine
you're
are.
someone who sounds like you really know yourself.
I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, try being an orphan the first 7 years and then go into
Mm.
another forever family in total
Oh,
opposite directions. You'll learn real quick what you want or don't want, or what you can do and what you can't do. And I'm a firm. This show is all about empowering people. That's all I want to do is
yeah.
empower people. The little guy that nobody thought could. That's the guy I want. This girl that I would like to inspire. Which is why we had you here today, because everybody has that moment. Everybody. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Somehow, some way, we all
Yeah,
have that. Hmm.
absolutely. What does it mean to move from all or nothing thinking to progress over perfection?
A big part of this is you have to be willing to see the lies that you've fallen for a long time.
Mm,
Okay, those ones we already kind of talked about: the lie of overnight success, the lie
yeah.
that you'll arrive, the lie that what you do is who you are. Okay, and then you have to also, one of the biggest lies is that the only way you change is by giving all of these perfectionistic ways. In order to shift from all or nothing to doing something, you have to learn ultimately to move from a place of compassion, not shame. Perfectionists thrive off of shame, regardless of where they are. With that pendulum swing, they thrive on shame.
Mm,
And luckily, we have a lot of research on this that shows shame actually inhibits growth,
mm,
especially sustainable kinds.
right.
But what does is compassion, being kind to ourselves. And a lot of us are afraid of that because we think if we're nice to ourselves, then we'll just lay around all day. And
Mhm.
I've had women tell me that, like, if I was nice to myself, Monica, I would just eat brownies all day. And yeah, maybe you need to rest more. Maybe you do need to listen to yourself and rest more. But truly, I have to say this over and over: the opposite of perfectionism is not apathy. The opposite of shame, compassion, isn't apathy either. Like, compassion isn't apathy. Acceptance isn't apathy. So if you're coming for, if you're trying to move forward, you're accepting, I'm allowed to be human who's trying. I'm allowed to be a human who's not going to do this perfectly. I'm allowed to be a beginner. I'm allowed to not be a beginner and still have things I have to work on, or the result to not be exactly what I wanted, or to maybe mess up. It's all okay. And that doesn't mean I don't try. It means I actually have a different kind of persistence that was ever available to me as a perfectionist.
Yes.
A lot of perfectionists quit pretty quick. That's another sign. If
Mm,
you start, you go gung ho on something, you're all for it, and you quit a few weeks, few months, sometimes a few moments in, um, that's not persistence.
mm,
Being mean to yourself in that way. Well, you just failed, so get off. Like that, shut up, get off. Like, don't try anymore. That
mm,
harsh, shame-driven voice isn't helping you stay on the path to actually
mm,
growing.
mm.
But if you're kind to yourself, if you accept your humanity, you are allowed to stay on the path. And you are allowed to stay in it longer, because real progress takes time. It's
Yes.
not overnight, and it's messy. You're going to fail. It's not a matter of when, or if, it's a matter of when.
Well,
And
that's how you get
so
to
you
success, is
persist.
through failure.
That's right.
So,
But perfectionists don't believe that, Tanya, right?
okay.
So they're terrified of it. So you lived this out. I know, just in, 2 minutes in and talking to you, this because you've lived it out, but
Mm,
it's scary for someone who hasn't done it this way before. So not only do you have to come from a place of compassion, you have to also come from a place of courage. You have to be willing to try a different way. You
mm.
have to be willing to do something instead of all or nothing. That's really scary for a lot of people.
I can imagine. How did you personally experience that shift, though?
Hmm. Well, it did begin with that do something list,
Hmm.
because it was a big deal for me to try something
Hmm.
knowing that it was not going to be good. Um, my podcast came about because I actually, on my do something list, was to start a blog, and it wasn't a goal. Like, the do something list is not about goals and resolutions. The blog was a way for me to push myself to do the thing I said I wanted to do for years, but I never tried, which was writing.
Hmm.
This was past the date of people starting blogs. Like, this was not the time when,
Hmm.
like, it was the cool thing anymore. Like,
Right.
nobody was starting it then. Like, and it was not successful. I didn't get amass all these readers, but it challenged me to do something for the sake of wanting to. It
Mm,
challenged me to put something literally out there, like out into the world, that may not be that that other people say it has to be in order for it to be worth it.
Mm.
To persist in a different way. And that's why I started podcasting, because 11 months into writing a blog that nobody read, I thought that has brought me so much fulfillment. It's taught me so much. I'm actually doing the thing. Maybe I could start a podcast too. Like, you said, you don't have to be a celebrity or a radio host or a broadcast journalist. Maybe I can try. And because of that, I've now been doing it for 10 years. So that's the
No,
coolest thing
speaking of,
about it, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And speaking of your podcast has hit over, let's see if I got this right, has hit the top 5% with over 4 million downloads. What do you think it's about your message? What is it about your message that resonates with so many women?
I think it's because my story isn't front page worthy, to be honest. Like, I didn't have a terrible upbringing. I had a good childhood. I was lucky. I had a lot of opportunity. I had a full belly. I had clothes on my back. I had parents who loved me. I didn't experience a massive traumatic event as a young adult. Like it, and I'm not saying that to negate the hard that I've been through. I've been through plenty hard. We all do.
Right.
But I think why a lot of women resonate is because they dismiss how they're struggling, because they think, why is this so hard when, like, my life isn't bad? Like, why am I struggling with feeling like myself when, like, I too don't have to worry about where I'm sleeping tonight or if I can feed my kids tomorrow? Like, why am I still struggling so much?
Mm.
And, in many ways, I've been criticized for that. I had a bad reviewer who liked to keep coming back and saying, like, your story is nothing. And that kind of got to me
Oh
for a
gosh,
while.
really?
Yeah. But, I've kind of owned that in many ways. I'm like, they're right. Like, I don't have this spectacular story. Like, a memoir of my life probably wouldn't be that interesting, but
Yeah,
I
but
know what it's like to struggle with an everyday life.
Yeah, but think about that. The fact that you found the grit to write this book, I'll say, um, even though the struggle doesn't look like mine, let's say, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that there isn't some type of human internal struggle going on. I have one kid tell me, and he came from a pretty good family. Well, I don't know how great the family is, but they were well off. I'll just say, and he told me one day. He said, I said, what is going on? Why isn't it? What's going on? Like everything seems perfect. He says, I can't keep up with them. They're all
Oh,
millionaires. I don't want to be a
oh,
millionaire. I have no
yeah.
desire to be a millionaire. I can't be like them. So that was his pressure,
Hmm.
which is not a bad pressure to have, but that was a serious pressure. I mean,
Sure.
it led the person to
Pressure is
something not
pressure.
good. So that's what I'm saying is sometimes we don't see it as you're homeless or you don't have any shoes.
Yeah.
It's not that. It could be simple, like
Yeah.
all these, even it could be something as simple as, not simple, but something is like all these people in the world are hungry and I have not figured out how to feed them, because that can weigh heavy on your soul, not being able to help people when you
Yeah.
want to help them. So it doesn't have to show up as I have a problem or I was abused or this happened, or it doesn't have to show up like that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was on your heart to write it says a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? And that is definitely a value, because look how many of us go through this.
And that's the thing I found. Like, suffering is a very human experience,
Exactly.
and in different degrees. But I think the people who have really been through it, they give people permission to struggle.
Mm.
They
Mm.
don't grade it.
Mm.
They don't say yours is an F level struggle, mine was an A. Like, they know struggling is struggling,
Right.
suffering is
Exactly.
suffering. And
Absolutely.
I think that's a big part of why I've been able to connect with my community, is because they're a pretty diverse community. I mean, we have people all over the world, but they're almost all women.
Mhm.
But in that community, we don't play the mommy wars that you see out there online. We have
Okay.
a lot of stay-at-home moms. We have a lot of working moms. We have a lot of single people. We have a lot of retired people. Like, it's a pretty diverse group, because they just know that we are all here because we struggle with just trying to be a human and
Right.
and remembering who we are. and growing because we desire to, and how to work against these perfectionistic tendencies we have
Mm.
is a big deal for us. So here we are,
Yes,
and we're going to work on it together.
exactly. Is that how you became a certified coach? I
Yeah.
love this. Certified coach,
Mhm.
uh, certified habit and identity coach
Yeah.
through heroic coaching. What made
Yeah.
you pursue that certification? Like, how did you shape
Sure.
how to shape your approach?
Well, I mean, as you know, I was a teacher, and I feel
Mm,
like I'm so glad. Again, that was the tipping point in my life in many ways. But teaching has the skills I learned there have been able to transcend me being in front of kids in a classroom, you
mm,
know. But I wanted to take that in a different way. I wanted to help women, but more deeply, not just talking to them, but really being in it with them.
right.
And I wanted to ensure that I was trained for that. I wanted to make sure I actually had a right to do that, the experience and know how. I love the heroic training program because it's a very intensive one. At least it was when I did it 2020 through 2021. It was almost a 300-day long program. I
Oof.
learned a
Really?
ton. Yeah,
That
it's
long?
very intensive.
Wow.
Um, but I learned so much. And the funny thing is, a lot of what I learned I can see is pretty perfectionistic bound in many ways because
Mm,
they're learning from like, you know, the personal development gurus of our time that in many ways are absent of the realities of what it actually looks like to live. So that's kind of
right.
what I'm trying to fill the gaps in with sticky habits.
Mhm.
But I was grateful that I did that so that I could then get in the pit with the women and actually work with them instead of just talking to them,
Wow.
teaching
Wow.
them, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, let's see. But how about this? As a
Mhm.
mom of five,
Yeah.
how do you personally practice what you teach
Mm.
when life is like unpredictable and full?
The number one way I've had to do that as a mom is removing my identity from motherhood. And that's not
Mm,
because motherhood isn't the most important thing in my life. It's because it is.
mm,
If I want to be the kind of mom my kids deserve, I have to be myself. And I can't, my identity can't be based on how they're doing.
right.
Otherwise, that's a burden that
Mm,
is unfair for them to carry.
think
And
so?
kids feel it. You
They
know
do.
when you are having to prove all day, every day that your mom's a good mom.
Yes,
You
that's
know
true.
it. You know it as a child. So because that matters so much to me, I have to be Monica and I have to bring who I am to what I do as a mom. So
Yeah.
that way how they do on a test doesn't become my grade of who I am as a
Mm,
mom,
that's
or I can
hard to
help work
separate.
with those. It is so hard to
So
separate.
hard. Yeah,
But it's
that's
been the
hard.
only way. I have a lot of special needs kids, I
Hmm.
have a lot of kids with neurodifferences. I've got
Okay.
a child with autism. I've got
Okay.
lots of boys with ADHD, and
Right. Right.
it's
Right.
and sometimes they make mistakes.
Okay.
Sometimes they get in trouble. Sometimes they do things that aren't good, and it's not apathy that it's not because of apathy that I'm like how they did today at school and me being at
Right.
the principal office. That I have to be Monica coming to that principal office
Mm,
because they need it. My child needs it. And I know I'm going to mold this child and help them the best I can,
mm,
but how they do in a day isn't going to measure who I am
right.
as a person.
Good. That's a such a good point for women because we always do, unless someone trains us differently. That's just who we are. We allow that
Yeah.
whole motherhood to take over and lose ourselves, and so
It's
that's
such a dance,
yeah.
because like it does matter so much and I want to show up. But the thing I always come back to is who do I want to be proud of about myself? Like, how do I want to look back and be proud of who I was as a mother? Not what are my kids going to prove it
Right.
to other
Right.
people or to myself?
That's deep. That's deep. Ladies, think about that.
It's a hard
Wow,
one.
it's a very hard one, and it'll take some while to undo that one because
Yes,
we've
it
been
does.
brainwashed by ourselves, by media, everything, not intentionally, but just as that's the way we've been raised, or society.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a while, but ladies, you might want to think about that one. Woof. Show up for yourself first. Um, so looking back
Hmm.
at your decade, of running about progress. What's the biggest lesson your community has taught you?
I have been astounded by the generosity and intelligence and the perseverance of the women in my community. And
Mm,
because I know they come from all backgrounds and life experiences, I've just been in awe of women, period. I,
yes.
I truly, every day I'm reminded that we are what runs this world, from in our homes to our communities to our
Yes.
churches to our workplaces.
Hmm.
And it actually inspired my, how if you're going to do something for this long, and you're not going to be like Amy Poehler with like a top podcast, or
Hmm.
you're not going to have like the syndicated talk show where everyone sits down at 4 p.m. like I did to watch Oprah every day growing up. You have to have a deeper reason that pushes you to do something for
The
this long.
why.
And this for
Yes.
29 years for you to do this work.
That's right. The why.
The why. My why is the women. And,
Yes.
and and my why is this mission to change
Mm,
the world by changing women. And it's because I see every day when women are allowed to be themselves,
yes.
things change around them.
Yes. Yes. You actually say that women must do habits differently.
Hmm.
What's the core flaw in traditional habit advice, and what does that method do differently?
Yeah, the core flaw, if we were going to put it in one word, it's privilege. And it can be multiple kinds, I'm sure. But,
Good.
the self help and wellness industry is very masculine centric.
Yes, Lord.
Yes. And so much of what is taught is based in certainty, because certainty is easier to sell
Hmm.
and it's easier to buy. It's easier to teach too. When you say, this is the way, here's your A to Z steps to get this specific outcome you want.
Hmm.
And especially, and I'll get more to the core reason why, but women especially are often set up to fail when they're given these certainty bound metrics, because if they get to step F and things start going different, they can never get to step Z.
Exactly.
Okay. Or, they get booted off the path, and it's so hard to get back on because you think the only way is this way. And that's, I'm so glad that I did my coaching certification. But when I was trying to implement the methods that I learned in that coaching certification program with the women I was working with,
Hmm.
they kept trying and failing. And when that happened enough, and I knew these women, I knew they were capable and smart and hardworking, and they could do stuff, and they got stuff done.
Hmm.
They got lots done in a day. I realized, what? It can't be these women. It has to be the methods. And
Mm,
that's when I realized all the methods I had been trained in and all the methods I'd personally learned and was implementing with them. These were behavioral design methods. So like they,
mhm.
were pretty well known. But they were all written and designed by men. And it wasn't like a pitchfork moment of like, let's all rally and like men are the worst. It wasn't that. It was just more with good intention. They taught what worked for them
Mm,
and the community they worked with, which when you do more research on it is largely men too. Most of their case studies are men. And one of the most popular habit books, the case studies that they share is 7-1, 7 men to 1 woman. And what, the way most self-help books are written, not mine, but
mhm,
most self-help books are written with case studies that are either made up
mhm,
or that are conglomerations of people
mhm.
that they taught. So you don't even know if it's a real person.
Right.
Oftentimes they apply a name or a gender or even a race
Mhm.
to somebody, and you
Right.
don't, in pursuit to be inclusive, I'm sure.
Mhm.
Um, but it does us a disservice because so much of how it's taught is actually perfectionistic, right? There
Mm,
is no nuance. There is no room for life to happen, to have a
mhm.
bad day. And why that applies to women specifically, though, it comes down to invisible labor. And this is a decades long, well researched category of study.
Mhm.
And I'll just give the nutshell. Invisible labor is the mental, physical, emotional labor required to run institutions, from
Mhm.
the home to the church to the school to the workplace and beyond.
Mhm.
And the research shows, again, this is not anecdotal, the research shows the high majority of people who carry that labor are women.
Mhm.
And And it affects our day-to-day lives in in every sense of the word. In the
Absolutely.
smallest of ways, from the way you're thinking, what you're carrying around mentally, what you're executing mentally, to like how your life actually looks. The research shows us women have less time than their male counterparts because of invisible labor. They are doing more in that
Yes.
less time, which means they have less energy,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of like that tracks, right? They have less support because they're most often the ones giving support. But the biggest one that I think we tend to forget, and that I think directly influences why we try these methods and fail them, we lack the same predictability our male counterparts do.
Mm.
And this is true for women who have children in the home and don't. It
Yes.
actually transcends if you're doing childcare in
Mm.
your home, like if you're taking care of children.
Mm.
Your lives your life is going to be different. And that's even with the best of men. And I would count myself among them.
Mm.
My husband is every bit as involved as I am when we're both home, but our time is different, you know? So a lot is different for us. And he understands that. And we've made a lot of shifts in our marriage too over time. But
Right.
so we have to do habits differently because of those things: less time, less energy, less support, and less predictability. And
Mm.
that doesn't mean we just don't try.
Right.
It means we try in different ways.
Different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm. Well, yeah, it's yeah, women, we really hold everything down pretty much, and we don't
Yeah.
get the credit we really deserve for it, or nor the grace is the word I'm looking for,
Yes.
that we should be having.
Well, and you know what? Can I tell you something that's really interesting?
Mhm.
The UN's Women's Organization did a study on if they were to quantify and put a number to it, of if they were to, you know, account for all the invisible labor that women do. And again,
Mm.
that's mental and physical. It's
Ugh.
emotional. Okay. It's if they were to quantify it by time, and they were to
Mhm.
put a number to it of how much that would do in terms of a year, like how much it would produce money wise.
Mhm.
They in the New York Times did this too. It's between 10.7 to a $10.9 trillion a year industry.
Mm.
But that number is based on $7.25 an hour.
Wow.
So even the number they put to it is a number that undervalues how important this work is.
Mm.
One of the stories I love the most that illustrates how vital this work is not that we're poo-pooing the work. It matters.
Right.
It needs to be greater valued. It needs to be better seen, and it needs to be better distributed. So women have the capacity, but we're not waiting because we're going to wait a whole long time. We're going to
Mm.
figure out how to work with where we are now as we work on other changes, okay, in our homes and our societies.
Mhm.
But one of the best illustrators of how valuable this work is, and I'm saying like monetarily because that's how the world often gauges value. In Iceland in the 1970s, late 1970s, the women were fed up with getting paid so much less than their male counterparts that they did a nationwide strike.
I remember this.
Yes, I was going to say it seems like you know this, but what I love about this strike, Tanya, it wasn't just the working women who went on striking that day. They called all women to go on strike with all labor they created. So this was the stay-at-home mom said, "I'm off the clock today. I'm not taking care of the kids. I'm
Mm.
not making food. I'm
Mm.
not cleaning the house."
Wow.
And that went from the home up to the highest ranks, you know, in the downtown, of like people working in the big buildings, to flight attendants, and everything in the entire economy went to a screeching halt that
Mm.
day.
Mm.
Everything.
Power.
The GDP is dependent on this labor.
Yes.
Okay.
Power of women.
Yes. And
Yes.
so I just love that story so much because I love that the women who organized this knew that all the work we do is valuable and it needs to be better seen. And the men, you know, they sold out of sausage rolls that day because the men all had to take their kids to work, and we're
Wow.
trying to feed them and buying the sausage rolls on the street, you know, from all the street vendors. Like yeah. So we run things, we get things
They run the
done.
world. Yes. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
in today's day and age, I don't know if I'd want that, because some husbands are great, but there's some I would not want them taking my kids to school.
Oh no.
Depends on
Yeah.
who it is, you know. So
Yes. Yeah.
that would be not good. But we do have power if we got together as women. Oh boy. Oof.
Yeah.
I think we can really make
It'd be interesting if we did a worldwide day of no woman's doing any kind of labor, and let's just see what
nothing.
happens.
Oh, that would be very scary, right? At this
Yeah, it
point,
would.
because of current said situations, it would
Yes,
be
that's
very
true too.
scary. We'd have
Yeah.
to wait till that's over before we try,
Yeah. We
because
may
some
have
people
to wait.
they don't have that partner. You're lucky, you're blessed that you have a good partner, but a lot of women do not have that.
No, they don't. And in
No.
fact, that's one of the things that I've learned a lot from my community too.
Mhm.
I've worked with a lot of women who they deserve much better in their partnership and in their
Yes.
relationships than they're getting.
Yes. I mean, they chose that, but still, it's just like if you don't have the right partner, it's like being a single mom, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And some
Yeah.
people are single mom with a black card, but it's like the black card doesn't help you when you got to put Tommy to bed and you got Jane in your arm and you got
Mm-hmm.
Raphael over there. I mean, it doesn't help you.
Mm-hmm.
It's and what comes acting out over here. That doesn't help you at all. Black card,
No.
what are you gonna do with it? Can't spend anything on personality and on behavior, right? So yeah, women are powerful.
Yeah.
So you coined the term. Let me see if I got it right.
Oh
GMGMs,
yeah.
good men with great methods. Can you
Yeah.
explain what that means and why it matters for women specifically?
Yeah. This is my tactful way of kind of labeling the bro self-help industry. you know, um, I believe in their core, most of them, probably not all, because we're all, going to be human here, but
Right.
most of them I believe are good men with
Mhm.
great methods. And they're sincerely trying to help change people.
Mhm.
But because they don't understand that their methods are a lot more gender specific than they think, aka a lot more privileged in time, energy, support, and predictability, then they realize, and they're trying to present their methods as gender neutral, and they can't be.
Mhm.
And a lot of I can illustrate one way that this happens with habits. A lot of us know that to have a habit, you do the same thing consistently enough for it to become a habit, right?
Right.
And habits do live and die by consistency. Consistency is what makes or breaks a habit. But the way we've been taught consistency is essentially perfectionism. You
Mm.
do the same habit in the exact same way at the same time of day, day after day.
Right.
And if you do that for 21, 28, or 30 days, then you have a habit. Well, as we've already said, we have a lot more interruptions for starters. Hormones alone impact our energy and what we have to do. If you are rearing children in any form or involved with children, even as a teacher, if you don't have kids in your home, like you're going to have a different level of predictability.
Right.
And so with this, we're going to change consistency.
Mm.
Consistency is not rigid perfection. Consistency is doing your best most of the time over time.
Mm.
Your best is a true best. I talked about how perfectionism really is a disease of disconnection.
Mm.
When you are ridding yourself of perfectionism, you are coming back home to knowing what is my actual best. Can I
Mm.
honor that my best today is not the ideal? So if we're going to take that with exercise, maybe, ideally you'd love to go on a 60-minute walk most days of the week.
Mhm.
But you have a day where baseball season just started, or if you have a big work project due, or you're caring for your elderly parents.
Mm.
Maybe there's exhaustion you're dealing with. Maybe the interruptions are really high that day. Maybe all of your mental tabs are like never ending. Okay.
Right.
And your best today is 20 minutes. You can do that, and it's consistent. That's you being consistent. Okay. So doing your best most of the time.
Right.
Our target with consistency is now more times than not. More times than not, I'm doing the thing that I say I want to do, and I'm doing it. And I'm
Mm.
doing it with that flexibility of knowing what my best actually is.
Right.
And the third part of that is over time. This means we're playing a different kind of game. We're playing the long game. It's not about 21, 28, 30 days of this like habit tracker where if you don't have it perfectly fill in, you just throw it away because you're like,
Right.
ugh, I failed.
Right.
No, if we're going to change that tracker to a different, like maybe you're filling in a picture instead. And if most of that picture is getting filled in
Mhm.
more times than not, you're doing it right. And also it's going to take time for that picture to be beautiful and be what you want it to be.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're dumbing things down. It means we're giving ourselves the support we need.
Yes.
Because really at the end of the day, women deserve to feel supported. And we often have to start with better supporting ourselves. And that's what habits are to me. It's about how we're doing that to take care of ourselves. It's not about other metrics or prescriptions or shoulds. It's
Mhm.
about what will help me feel like me. And
Mm.
if I know I'm going to do that with movement, maybe I know a walk is exactly what I need for movement. Or maybe I know I need to do a kickboxing session every day. Like I
Right.
just got to get
Right.
these feelings out, or
Right.
I just need to lay down and stretch, or you get to actually make your own prescriptions,
Mm.
and you get to do so in ways where the consistency is coming because of the flexibility you've built into how you're designing your habits and how you're
Yes.
going about them too.
And that's very empowering. It's how you get your confidence back.
Ooh,
You know.
you know what, Tanya? You're so wise. You got to the core of why this really matters the most to me. I don't care if women have days that are habit after habit after habit. I care about women feeling like themselves. And the coolest thing about teaching women this different method, and
Mhm.
we take what the GMs, the good men and the great methods, we take
Right.
what's good and right from their methods and
Mhm.
we build on them and we fill in the gaps that they have. Okay. So
Right.
we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We are building on these GMs. Okay.
Right.
But, but it's less about what habits they have.
Mhm.
The coolest part has been not only are they like, Monica, I feel more supported. I have this habit. I have this thing I always wanted. I'm doing this habit that I always thought I needed and wanted.
Mhm.
It's how they see themselves.
Mm.
Women have said, like, for the first time in my life,
Mhm.
I now think of myself as someone who follows through. Or the
Yes.
first time in a long time, I'm someone who says, I do the thing I say I'm going to do.
Yes.
It shifts so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you do that one first time, it gives you the gear to go to the next level and say, "Oh, well, I did it this time. I can do it tomorrow too." Yeah,
Yes, it
gives you
changes the
confidence.
patterns in the way we think and the ways we
Yes,
behave.
it's a quick
And
shift.
the coolest thing too is, I want every woman to believe they're a habit person. A
Mm.
habit person is not this type A stereotype. A habit person is every type of person is a habit person. A habit person is not someone who has that perfect day full of habits. Habits are really more touch points to a day that help you feel like yourself, that stabilize you, give you support. And the rest of the time you live.
Right.
So being a habit person means you have a life.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. It's because some people think just because they have this list that's
Never
they can hide,
ends.
but you have to have grace for yourself, as I say,
That's
and
right.
just get started. Just do something, anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
anything.
do something. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the heart of everything. Do something.
absolutely, absolutely. How does perfectionism how does it show up in the habit space? In the habit space,
Mm-hmm.
and how does it translate into what we get wrong about consistency all the time?
Mm-hmm. So we talked through this a bit, but I'll just reframe it in this way.
Right,
We think consistency is perfection,
right.
but it's actually flexibility.
Mm,
Flexibility makes consistency possible.
mm,
Again, if you are doing the perfectionistic model, if you're not perfectly consistent, you're
mm,
going to fall right off that path the second that you can't do it the exact way you said you were going to do, or the way that you did it for 20 days prior.
mm.
Okay. When you know it's about flexibility, then more times than not. So I didn't get day 20 of 28. I'm still hitting it. I'm still being consistent. I'm still showing up. And that means I get to one, do the habit differently, maybe do
Mhm.
a lesser version of it. And that's okay. You don't have to do the ideal every day. But two, no, I'm playing the longer game anyway. I'm playing a different game. So we got to play that.
Nice. Wow. What exactly is sticky habit method, and like how is it
Uh-huh.
designed?
Mhm.
Uh, how is it designed to curve with the I don't know unpredictability of women's lives?
So there's several steps to this method, and it is based in behavior design.
Okay.
So it's not just like this worked for me, so maybe it'll work for you. This has been, it's research backed. It's also been tested with many, 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 many women, several
Mhm.
hundreds of women, and several thousands with my podcast for those who have implemented the principles that I teach there. The sticky habit method is built off of what the GMs get right for us, those good men with the great methods, fills the gaps where they are because there's plenty, and adds to them where we need them to too. But it really is this flexible, gentle form of forming habits in ways that last. Because we reframe what habits are, we reframe how we form them, and then we do so in a different way. It's much more about that doing something mentality. It's about building up slowly more over time and getting the support you need. And it's been something, like I said, it's not just about changing habits. It's about changing women. It's about helping them be them like themselves, feel like themselves.
Right.
It's originally going to be called Happy Habits, but then a New York Times bestselling author came out with a book by that name in January this year. So we're like, oops, can't do that.
Nope.
And I'm glad for the shift. But the whole premise of this book is I want women to feel like themselves, and that to me is what happiness is.
That is happiness, feeling like yourself.
Yes.
And standing in your truth, whatever that is. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And feeling like you have the capacity to do so.
Exactly. Yeah. And we do. Sometimes we just forget that. And I'm like, you're running everything. What else do you think you have?
Yeah.
You stop saying, oh yeah, I did do that, didn't I?
Yes.
We paid those bills and got those kids to the school and went back and did this and with my job. I mean, I did it all. Yeah. So yeah, we have to give ourselves more grace, ladies. That's probably what I would sum that up to. So your book talks about invisible labor and mental load.
Yes.
Derailing, what is it called? Derailing conversational habit methods. How do you how do those forces specifically undermine women's efforts?
The traditional forces of habit formation, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you're focusing on one big part of invisible labor. It's not just what you see gets done. It's who thinks about it, who plans it. And this comes from Eve Rodsky's research on invisible labor, and that there's 3 parts to labor. There's conceiving, there's planning, there's executing. Conceiving is, coming to mind, like that thing needs to be done. Planning is how it's going to get done. And then executing is doing it. So of the labor performed for a task, 2/3 of it is internal. And that's even if you have men in your life who is willing to roll up their sleeves and do the things, they're often being directed in this work. It's really hard to quantify how much time it requires, but what they're able to show is 70% of a task is internal. So if you can look on the outside, how long does it take to do a task, like to clean a bathroom? Or maybe like to sign up kids for sports? That's never ending what goes involved in signing up for kids in sports and keeping track of their, getting their uniform, the right shoes, putting on the family schedule, showing up at the right time for practices. Like all of the time you can see on the outside, at least double it. And that's the time it's taking internally. And that's what you're carrying around. Like, so if you double it time wise, but maybe you could also double it weight wise. Just like to imagine, like, that's on my shoulders because that's in here. So even if I'm directing people, I'm still doing 2/3 of the job. And that's why so many women say it's easier for me to do it myself.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like it, because you've already done most of the work anyway that people can't see.
Right.
Or the way they execute it is going to be different than what you think the standard should be. Or what you know it should be, actually. A lot of times it's not that we need to lower our standards, like the standard is the standard.
Right.
Right? Like I don't have a lower standard that kids need to eat. Like this is what a lunch should look like.
Yeah.
Okay. Not maybe like all perfectly done, we're not saying that, but like they need a variety of foods, not just like tons of granola bars put in a bag, which some of my kids, that maybe all they eat in a day. I don't know, with their preferences, but yeah. So again, we're just keep coming back to this for years and years, Tanya. Women have blamed themselves for failing using these methods, and they need to know that they were set up to fail. These methods never accounted of the weight and the time that this invisible labor requires of you.
Wow, that's deep. Ladies, I hope you're thinking about that, because I am. Wow. And I'm thinking of all the conversations I've had with women. I'm like, wow, that's, oof. Yeah, we do carry a lot.
The craziest thing, Tanya, is we often don't even know how much we're carrying. The invisible labor is oftentimes invisible to women.
Mm.
And I would say, especially for those who they do have good men in their lives, they're like, but they do so much. They are doing a lot. That's true, and that's good, and that's how it should be. And at the same time, if you are still mostly directing the work, you are still doing 2/3 of the job.
Exactly.
Okay. And it's like I can't remember the author who talked about this, but it's like the fish swimming in the water, right? And
Okay.
they're talking and another fish comes up and says, "How's the water, boys?" And they're like, "What water?" That's how we often are with invisible labor. We don't even see it ourselves. We
Mm.
don't even recognize how much we're doing and caring.
Wow, that is deep. That's very deep. It's like I gotta process that for a
Mhm.
while because
Yeah.
we it's so true. Like, and we don't even see it because, like you said, especially if we think we have a partner that does at least half of what we're
Yeah.
asking to do. The fact that we had to ask it, that took a lot of brain labor
Mhm.
and a lot of
Yeah.
downloading in the brain to get to. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
lot. It's a lot. Didn't think of it that way, but it's a lot. What are some of the habit shifts that could make the biggest difference for a woman that's stuck in an all or nothing cycle?
So there are tactile ones, but I
Mhm.
I always think we have to go deep before we go practical.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's like putting the cart before the horse. That's why so often of us are like reading the next self-help book after the next self-help book because we're looking for like the way,
Mhm.
but we're not looking for those deeper changes that help us approach the way differently.
Mm.
So I'll just share a few of those. One is we need to know that habits are supportive. That's
Okay.
their job. They are helpers.
Mhm.
Habits are helpers. They are there to help us feel like ourselves.
Mm.
So instead of them being like chores or balls and chains or even prisons, like we're bound by them, they're prescriptive, they have to look a certain way.
Mhm.
They're more like nets.
Mm.
They're flexible, they're there to catch us, they lift us up, they help us. Okay. Another one is habits are small. Okay. This goes with the question about routine versus habits. A lot of us think that I'm installing a habit when really we're installing routines. And routines are part of what we're building up to. They do matter. But
Mhm.
I'll do an example. Like a lot of women want to work on a morning routine. Well, I ask them, okay, what's your ideal morning routine? And they list off 10 habits.
Mm.
I'm going to get up, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to shower, I'm going to get ready, I'm going to pack lunch, I'm going to do a quick meditation, I'm going to, meet with my kids, I'm going to take like, and it just keeps going on. And that is a whole list of habits. So a routine and a habit are not the same thing. A
Mm.
habit is a small way that we take care of ourselves. It's one step, right? A routine is a series of habits that are stacked together to meet a certain need or a certain time of day, like that morning routine, or maybe you have a skincare or a meal prep routine.
Right.
There's all sorts of routines, exercise routines. Sometimes our exercise, it's not actually one habit, it's three, because we're doing so many different things. So we have to simplify what habits are by noticing they're just small. They're small. And when we do that, then we're able to pick out the most important one from that morning routine that we can start with and
Mhm.
then build up. So eventually our routines run like a habit. So routines can feel like a habit eventually. Okay.
Mhm.
And the third I would say too is habits are simple. We don't always, often we start Monday with this
Mhm.
ideal version we have. Like on Monday, I'm going to do this and it's going to be so even if they say, okay, of the morning routine, I know that I just need a minute to journal. Like I'm just going to journal out of that whole routine. I'm just going to journal. Okay, great. You have a small habit. But if you think journaling only counts if you do 20 minutes,
Mhm.
that's the ideal version. You need a simple version too.
Mhm.
And that's what I call the baseline. So
Mhm.
habits are supportive, habits are small, habits are simple. Those are just three of the starting place I would encourage to reframe before we even get into the how to.
Mm. Wow. Well, what makes a habit sticky?
Mhm.
Like, how can women build habits that aren't just about productivity, but about
Yes.
caring for themselves?
Well, you go through those first three. I call it the sticky habit matrix. So think of like two Venn diagrams that are kind of squished together. So there's
Mhm.
four circles, and we
Mhm.
just did three of them.
Mhm.
So you make sure a habit is supportive first,
Yeah.
meaning, is this a habit I actually want and need?
Mhm.
And in that, do I design it in a way that fits what I want and need?
Mhm.
Okay, is this habit actually going to be supportive? The second, is it small, meaning, is it one step of a fuller routine? Okay,
Mhm.
then you hit
Mhm.
those first two. The third, is it simple, meaning, do I have a baseline version of the ideal habit I want?
Mhm.
So, meaning, what's the worst like on a worst kind of day, what's the version of this habit that I can still do?
Mm.
So for that 60-minute walk lady, maybe for her it was 10 minutes. On my worst of day and the busiest day with the most interruptions or the least amount of energy, or maybe I'm struggling with my mental health that day, like I can still do a 10-minute walk. When you have that baseline, you have consistency. Okay, because you need consistency to have a sticky habit. And the fourth one I didn't get to before is specific. And this is habit stacking. This is one of the GMGM principles that we can bring in. We have to make sure our habits are specific, meaning we know not just the day we're going to start, but we know what time of day, what's already happening during that time of day. And then we can attach the new habit to an already existing one. And I detail that more in the book for the specifics there, just so I don't take another 20 minutes explaining that one. But we got to be a little bit more specific. A lot of us just say on Monday, or January 1st. A lot of us are waiting for this year to end because it already feels like we're over halfway through. So you might as well just wait till January 1st. Don't wait. It's that doing something really matters, but being very specific about it matters too.
Yes. Well, yeah, being very specific, because then you can hold yourself accountable that way.
And that's brain science too, which is the best part about it. Like you want to do it in a way that uses less of the mental energy you're expending so much because of the mental load. So right. I'm going to give a quick example then. Let's say this lady knows she needs to move her body, but we're going to go because she's going to design this movement habit to be supportive. She's going to stick with walking for now. Okay. She's not going to worry about doing an extreme workout or like doing burpees. She'll get to it maybe, but now for this season, it needs to just be walking. Okay. So she's designed a supportive habit. Okay. She's just doing walking. She's not doing walking, strength training, and stretching. Okay. So she has a simple version of that. Now she knows her ideal is 60-minute walk, but she's going to have a baseline to make it simple enough. So for her, that's 10 or 15 minutes. Even on her worst of days, she can do a 10 or 15-minute walk and she'll have the support she needs from that. Now to get specific, she has to think, well, what time of day do I want to walk most often? Because now you're always going to have an ideal day, but most often I want to walk in the morning after breakfast, and if you have kids, maybe after I take them to school and before work. Right. So what happens during that time of day? Well, no matter what, I'm cleaning the kitchen, or I'm driving back in, or I'm shutting the garage door, or I'm feeding the dog. Like, so you think of what are the habits that already happen during that time, and then you attach the new habit to one of those. And as part of that, you practice it like an actor, like blocking out their spaces on the stage. And you go through that several times. So your brain and body starts to memorize it. This is something I did as a teacher without knowing this was science. I just did it with my kids. Like we just, walk through our routine with all these body symbols to help us remember. You're training your brain and body to do the same thing with less energy, because as soon as you feed the dog, suddenly you're walking out the front door. Because you've trained yourself, when I feed the dog, then when I'm done feeding the dog, then I'm going to walk out front to go on my walk. That's where the specificity comes in.
Specific. Wow. Well, this book, let me see if I can find the copy here. Let me see. So the book, it is deeply personal, it seems. You share your Marty, let me see if I say the Monica story openly. Rather than presenting this perfect picture. Why was that important for you?
It kind of goes back to the question you shared earlier about why women resonate with the things I teach. And it's because all along I've been trying to show that I need to live this out, or I'm basically just being another bro self-helper. If I don't show them the messy days or the times where things don't work out, or that I'm a real person, why should they trust me? I want to learn from experts who weren't automatically good at the things they teach. That's who I personally love to learn the most from people where it didn't come naturally to them. It wasn't easy for them. Habits have been that way for me. I was on the all or nothing track with habits my entire life.
Right.
And I can say I'm a habit person, but not because I meet the stereotype. I have my touch points of the day where the habits are there to guide me and support me. But like I told you, I have a life. Okay. I have a routine list or a to-do list that changes every day or every minute. I get interrupted constantly. I always have to ebb and flow minute by minute. And being able to illustrate that in the book by just sharing about what even brought me to this path of becoming a martyr mom, like becoming this martyred version of me as a mom, and wanting to change that by recognizing I need help. And the only way I'm going to get that right now is if I raise my own hand and help myself, starting with getting some sleep.
Starters.
It started that simple for me.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to sleep for the first time in my life, like 30 years in. I've never been a good sleeper. Anyway, I had to show the real because that's who I want to learn from. And that's who I think we as women deserve to learn from.
Right. Real experiences. Makes sense. If there's
Thanks,
one
Mom.
thing, yeah, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. I want to learn. I mean, to me, everything's about. That's why I love having guests because these are real people. It's not made
Yeah.
up stuff. Nothing.
Hmm.
Everything's 100%. People have lived through whatever they're
Real.
telling us to do. So I like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you seem to people seem to activate and be inspired more by that than oh look over there, that's what happened and that's what they got. It's like
Yeah.
well, it's not tangible.
Yeah. Or I've sold this course over and over, but I
Yeah,
made it all up. Like none
yeah,
of it was
those are getting on my
actually
nerves too. Yeah,
tried out
yeah,
or, yeah.
no, yeah, no, that's gonna not become a thing pretty soon.
Yeah. It
Because
already
people,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
people will start saying, "Wait a minute, I've been duped here."
Yeah, I
So
can't tell you the number of business things I bought that I was like, well, another,
another
another
one bites the
fail.
dust. Yes, another one bites the dust. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if there's one thing that you'd like every woman that reads this book to walk away with, knowing about her habits, good or bad, what would that be?
It actually isn't about habits.
Mm-hmm.
It's about this fear we all have that we can't change.
The fear.
You know, I've had so many women tell me, "You don't know, Monica, I'm broken." And you know, I think we all are a little broken or a lot broken. I don't think we should dismiss what life does to us and how it beats us up
Yes.
often. But nobody
Yeah.
is irrevocably broken.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can change. Everyone. I truly believe everyone can change.
Mm-hmm.
But it does come down to, and I'm not a very woo-woo person, but I do believe it comes down to belief. You have to believe that you can change
Yes.
in order to stay on this path because it's going to be a long road. But you will. As long as you are pointed the right direction and you are trying, you're doing it right, and you will change. You will see change.
Yes.
Oftentimes, it's not hindsight bias until we see how far we've come. And I would say actually 99% of the time. And I'll just illustrate that with a quick story. You know, when I first was in my eating disorder recovery, I was not changing. Things were getting worse. And that was really hard because I was the type A perfectionist at the time. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do exactly what they tell me and I'm going to fix this like next week. Right. And a couple months in, I wasn't getting better. I was getting worse. And I came to my therapist, and I'm really lucky that my college had free therapy. Or else I don't know. I don't know if I'd still be alive, to be honest, without that.
Really? Wow.
I wouldn't have. And that's why I took myself to the therapy office, is because I knew I was ready to do something that wasn't safe for me.
Right. That's
And
important. Wow.
yeah, and that was a very terrifying time. But you know what, Tanya? Nobody knew.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want anyone to know because I didn't want to be human, right, to them. But I went to that therapist and I was like, so listen up. This isn't going well. Like, it's going worse and I'm not getting better. And he said something to me that I think most people would think it's the worst thing you could tell someone who's working just at the very beginning of recovering from a disorder or an addiction or maybe some trauma, like something really hard and deep.
Right.
He told me, Monica, you are likely going to deal with this the rest of your life.
Well,
And
thanks.
that actually wasn't depressing. That was helpful for me because it helped me see I didn't have to do recovery perfect. I was allowed to do it messy. And it was okay that I wasn't well overnight. And I was able to play the long game and stay on the path because I knew it was going to take a long time. And probably about 5 years in, I mean, a good number of years of working hard on this, I still didn't quite think I was getting better. But then I looked back a few years in, maybe 5 years in, and I thought, oh, wait, this part is easier for me. And that was a stunner because in the real time, I didn't feel it. In real time, I didn't notice the shifts. But now it's been over 20 years. And I can tell you that therapist was right in some ways. It took a long time, but he was wrong in another. I don't struggle like I did. I don't, I'm a woman now, in this modern age. So of course I'm not like immune from all the pressures or like sometimes being like, maybe I should go on a diet. I don't, because I've been in this game long enough to know that's not going to be good for me. Right.
Right.
But I don't struggle like that. I don't have an eating disorder anymore. Like that's gone. That's part of my past now. But it took 20 years for me to get to that point of me being like, oh, what do you know? That's gone.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gone.
Well, I mean, being human is a life work. It's
Isn't
like,
it?
it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm great. I'm 20. That's not how that
Yeah.
works. Yeah. Yeah. It,
And
it takes about
sometimes
100 years.
I wish that weren't the case. Like sometimes like I hate it too.
Yeah.
But when we know that's what it really looks like
Mm-hmm.
and we're playing this different game,
Mm-hmm.
we will get there. We all can change. It's just a
Absolutely.
matter of time. It really
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic. I wanted to just read some of the live chats because just in case someone had a question for us, is that okay?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Yeah, it's
I
okay.
think we
'Cause,
answered one of
yeah,
the bigger questions that came in.
yeah. I saw one person said media makes perfection worse. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
presents themselves as productive or successful, which is true. That is, we were just talking about this the other day, my daughter and I, how my younger daughter, how you let's say you work for a company, right? And everybody's doing all this great work. You're like, oh my God. And then you find out, maybe they're on Adderall and you're not.
Huh.
So now you
Yeah.
start looking like the lazy worker because you can't
Mm-hmm.
keep up. And what we're
Mm-hmm.
saying is it's okay that that person needs that if they need that, right? But
Yeah.
don't compare me to that. So the bosses need to learn that, like, that's superpower human. That's great, but that's not all of us. You're right.
That's right.
And this is what real work in real time looks like without anything and just dealing with all the chaos in the work office. And, you know, um, yeah, that's one. And then the other one is on social media, which is why I think she's more geared toward it
Mm-hmm.
because I think she's young, is that we see all these people like, look at my car, my Benz, I'm going to Paris, I'm doing this. Oh, look at me.
Yes.
And meanwhile, they're like, they got a GoFundMe going. It's like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
I thought you were balling. What happened? So it's an illusion,
Yeah, it
and
is.
you have to start from where you're at, not where Tommy's at.
And they don't show the messy middle. Like even the achievements they did genuinely
Yes.
earn, they don't show what it took to get there,
No.
and the failures, they don't show that.
Yes, they do not show that at all, and that's the scary part. That's the part we have to,
It
as
is.
humans, especially with today with AI and all these new things coming up that make everything look so great. Oh my God, you wrote that paper? Oh
Mm.
wow, how did you nice such an elegant paper? And like you didn't even write the paper, or you wrote the book, or you did this, whatever it is. It's okay, and that's okay too. But just don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you write a book and I write a book and someone else writes a book, those are three different books.
That's
And they're
right.
all
They should
they're
be.
all valued and they're all okay. Just don't say, well, her book had more pink in it than her book. Maybe you had access to the pink machine. I'm just saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to stop falling into these ideologies. I don't know what you call them. These idiosyncrasies. I don't know what you call this, but we have to stop as humans putting requirements
Yeah.
that are really impossible to get to unless you have access to certain things or people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Just go
Yes.
with what we have and who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing right now. Someone else said, "Hey, Madeline, just published a book. My book. Oh, I can't see what that says because I'm on this phone.
Unfortunately, yeah, I can't go up
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
older comments, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe
No,
I
it's
can
okay.
over
I'm,
here.
I'm rolling back. I'm rolling back. But okay, so I can see you here. Ha ha ha. Because sometimes you can't see the YouTube people what they asked. I just want to make sure no one asked a specific question for you.
Oh,
We got that
sure.
one. That's all. Oh, that was the same. Okay, the same comment. I don't know how I did that. Great topic. Virgos thought to be perfectionists. Great topic. Madeline McKay. What's that? Maybe that was in reference to what we were saying. Okay,
I think she's
Cancer.
talking about her book, which sounds really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Can You Hear Me?
yes. Can you
Um,
hear me?
Bald by choice, 3 times breast cancer survivor.
Oh,
That's
wow.
really cool.
God
That's
bless you,
really
Madeline.
cool.
God
Yeah.
bless you, and well done on getting it done. Because a lot of people
Yes.
are just saying they're going to do it and they didn't get it done.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, well done. And then that was just me saying hello.
Lots of good
Who's
comments. Thank
this?
you guys.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying the party. I wonder if she's British, nodding,
Oh,
agreeing with Monica. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Massive food for thought. I'm just making sure. Oh, here we go. Is that a question? Is
that's the
routine
one we
different from habit?
answered.
Yeah, you
Yeah, we
answered. That's
answered
right.
that
You
one.
said that.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Fortunately.
I'm just making sure because sometimes I miss people, and I don't want to do that. So sometimes your value isn't until your absent is felt. Ooh, that's deep.
Yeah.
That's very deep, Mala, and
That's
that
very
is
true.
with everything she talked about today. Monica talked about today. I wonder, our husbands, our mates, our kids, they can feel that when we
Mm,
say, you know what, we're taking a day
yeah.
off. That's it. I'm just taking a break. I know the kid's like, I'm tired of peanut butter and jelly, mom. I'm tired of it. I just resist on, or my diaper was only changed twice instead of 6 times. You did it six, things like that. So you feel it. Trust me.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, I think so. Going to buy the book. Yeah, please do go out and get the book, guys. It's definitely going to be an eye opener for you. And we all have some kind of sticky habits in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some way. So I'm sure you can benefit from the book. And I left the links not only here but
Thank
on my
you.
YouTube description.
I
You know where to
appreciate
go get
that.
the book, the website, how to find Monica, how to join her pages. Just be
Thanks.
supportive if you can. And I
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Ask your library. If you can't afford the book, go to your
Oh
library,
yeah.
request it
Oh
there.
yeah.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, your library always has a copy if it has the ISBN number. Very good.
Yeah.
Very
Just
good.
go
Thank you for
request
that.
it.
Thank you. So yeah, get the book, guys. It's great. You know, Xmas holidays are coming up soon. This is a great
That's
gift,
true.
especially for a young person. Young.
Yeah. Avoid the traps
A
we got caught
mom.
in for a
Yeah,
long
this.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so many people could use this. So please get it if you can. It will be very helpful. I promise you, there will be some jewel in there for you. Put it that way. And thank you so much, Monica, for taking time
It
to
was a
come
pleasure.
with us. Say yes, you're such a joy, and we'll definitely have you back again for
Well,
another
you're
topic
such a
on your
good
book.
listener. You're
Yeah,
such a good listener, Tanya. It's so clear that, what you do here is because of all these years that you put in of showing up and doing something, and I'm so glad I got to be here and be part of this community.
I'm
Thank
glad you
you.
got to come with us. We appreciate you, guys, viewers. We like to thank you. There you have it, guys. Progress
Thank
is
you.
possible for anyone at any season in life. Starting exactly where you are today, go grab Monica's book, Sticky Habits. However you buy the books, it's your permission slip to stop chasing perfect and start building a life that feels like it's yours. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share this with women who needs to hear it, and go make your progress happen. You definitely deserve it, guys. Okay. And until, what is it? Till next week, I guess they say. Till next
Yeah.
time. I'll see you next time, baby. All right, guys. Oh wait,
See everyone.
someone just said something here.
She said, I applaud you, Tanya.
Oh, oh, okay. So yeah, my eyesight is
We
gone.
all applaud you, Tanya.
Oh, thank
I
you,
join in
guys.
that. Thank you for
I
having me. I
applaud you.
appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And until next time, we'll talk to you later, guys. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.